the function of parties? No matter what political system, you have to have organizations in society that will go out into the society and identify what the different interests are. Whether it's interests on the basis of class, interests of workers, or cross-class, and so on, or more specific time-bound interests. There's a debate, there's a fight within a particular area over something, and then somebody's got to represent one or the other side. Parties are then supposed to summarize these interests nationally and translate that into a party platform. Party platform that cuts across many different interests. If you have a situation, for me it's not just media and the role of media in election. For me it's also class formation in the age of globalization. Okay, because you don't anymore have workers, bourgeoisie, petty bourgeois. I mean, the classical classes don't exist anymore. So what you have, and you have it here, you have it in Thailand, less so in Indonesia. Basically, your party competition is between populist parties and parties that have some kind of base and take reform seriously. And populism as an ideology, actually, it's a political stance. It's very amenable to modern media. So that's the problem. What the solution is. If I knew, I would be president of the Philippines already. I could even be president of Indonesia. I would know the solution. No, it's a problem that parties everywhere are dealing with, but many different ways with many different circumstances.
So the partyless party system.
The Philippines, total failure.
You don't think there's a future, or can you go back again and tell the reason why there is such a law on partyless parties? Was it coming from the social movement or
partly social movements, partly post Marcos? People were thinking about, how do we reform the political system? so on. But then the sort of party reality, not party, political reality was stronger than the reform element. I mean, you could have some improvement. For example, if you remove even if you don't remove it, if let's say instead of only 3 seats, you made it 10 seats, and then you raised the threshold percentage of the votes that you have to get. The problem now is last election, something like 64 parties that participated. The election before that, 120 some parties, party list parties.
How many are there the members of the lower house? How many seats in the lower house?
The party list seats now is 52 out of they keep splitting districts. So now I think it's 270 something total number of but you know, you can't even say there's a block. There's a party list block.
So the party list was implemented immediately after Marcos.
No, I think for 2 elections, the president appointed sectoral representatives. So representatives of workers, farmers, and so on.
Utusan golongan. Seperti utusan golongan.
Ya, semacam.
Appointed.
Appointed by the president.
Yeah. But then I'm sure when the first party list elections was, I think 1998 was the first party list election. Because the party list law was not passed until 1995.
But the social movement still use that as their venue for the representation of the marginalized.
It's really only Bagian that does that. The parties of the Communist Party or the Maoist Party, they don't use social movements. They use the New People's Army movement. And then you have like there's a right-wing labor federation, labor center. They succeeded in electing, I think, 1% of it's right now what I'm more interested in is it's not for me, and the reason I'm in government is it's very difficult for me to imagine changes in the system of representation. But I think if you focus on issues of state formation, okay, maybe you will be able to bring in enough changes to so that later you can begin to think of changes in the form of representation. What do I mean by state formation? Very simple. government has to be able to collect taxes. The tax effort in the Philippines, I think last year was like 12.4% of GDP. In Indonesia, it's much higher. It's probably already as much as 90%. I know in the region, it's in the area of 18 to 20%. You have to be able to collect taxes. Because if you can't collect taxes, you just have perpetual deficit spending and more debt. Monopoly over the legitimate use of violence. So in the case of the Philippines, deal with the Maoist insurgency and the Muslim secessionist movement. And what I'm hoping to be able to do is get money from the government to finance major organizing effort by the social movements. So what's happened is, like in Indonesia, social movements are linked to NGOs. NGOs are dependent on money from European and American donor agencies. And those sources of money are drying up. So what I'm hoping is, if I can generate the money, it looks like probably I'll get major organizing effort in the next year or two, and see if through that organizing process we can elect good reform local government officials.
Through the effort.
Sorry?
Through the effort of the social movement.
Yeah.
I mean, you endorse the social movement to run for the local positions.
Yeah.
But it needs the party also.
I think eventually you will have parties, you'll have social movement-based political parties. When you have social movements, the problem right now is labor movement is it's not dead, it's dying. Peasant movement is too closely linked to the process of land reform, agrarian reform. So if we can generate major organizing effort, maybe that can be linked to changes in local politics. Maybe.
What kind of efforts that you imagine? The major organizing. We want to organize major efforts.
The plan is, for the first time you have a government that's serious about anti-poverty work. The main effort up to this point is conditional cash transfer program, where now the number is about 2.3 million families get on average about 25% of their income from conditional cash transfer. target is by the end of the term, President Aquino, 4.7 million families. Then you have health insurance. By the end of the year, 5.2 million families will have subsidized health insurance. But that's top down. So what we're doing is we've identified 600 focus municipalities who will do municipal poverty planning. And then behind them will be the major organizing effort, so that poverty planning and implementation will be the elected municipal governments and a mass base. But the mass base will be a mass base of the poor majority. I will probably, I'm hoping to get about 250 million pesos. That's about 70 million US dollars for this organizing effort.
When you want to set up institution and locals that can be used by the social movements.
That's still being worked out.
But that's the basic idea. Will it not be conflicted with the interest of the local process?
Of course.
Because caste that have traditional caste also, have you compared it to Indonesia?
Yeah.
Because that's already applied by since 2004.
And how big is it in Indonesia?
You mean?
How many people get conditional caste transfer?
I don't know the percentage, but it's quite big because it's big. It's one of the factors that determine the popularity of the local rulers now. Even in the 2009 election, where there's a policy to postpone the deliverance, the disbursement of the payment of the CCT. It was disbursed every 3 months. The effect was the drop in the popularity of the
Parties.
parties.